Hi everyone, just quickly before this video starts, I'm running Manchester Marathon later this month, and I'm going to attempt to run 75 miles in 24 hours at Endure 24 this year in June. All of this is to raise money for Tommy's, which is a charity that funds research into miscarriage, stillbirth and premature birth. If you'd like to support the cause, the donation link is in the description of this video. Every little bit helps, even a pound, even a penny. Thank you.
Hello, welcome back. You can probably hear in my voice I'm sounding a bit more chipper, but back to some sort of relatively normal health. Back out in the field, in the wind, and it's bright and sunny, but really quite chilly. So it's been a rough week. I mean, that sickness that I had last week, just as I thought I was getting better, it kicked my arse again. And I was pretty much out of action for about a week and a half altogether. But it weren't nothing too bad. It didn't quite sort of knock me all the way over. It was just there the whole time. And I'm feeling much better now. Much better. Although I might be in a bit of trouble because my poor wife is showing signs of having it now. She's been a bit rough for the last 2 days. She soldiered on and got into work this morning, but yeah, I'm hoping she's going to be feeling a little bit better. So I'm on week 22 of this Manjaro journey, and it's kind of been a nice week, a week of realisation, I want to say. I'll come on to that. I have been asked a few times to start sharing some different things within my videos. One of those in particular was around what I eat in a week. I am going to do that, and what I'm going to do though is I'm going to try and record where I can, as much as I can this week, if I remember to do it. I'm so bad at this. If I remember to do it, I'm going to record a little bit each day, showing what I'm eating on that day, so you actually get to see what I'm actually eating. And then hopefully next week, if I can do this, then hopefully next week I will try and put something out. But next week's going to be a bit of a hectic week for me, because next week is when I start my new job, and I'm sure I'm going to be kept really busy, particularly in the first days. But I'll see how I get on. If I can't bang something out over the nights or weekends, then I'll try and do it whenever I can. But know that that video is coming. I've been asked that a few times about what do I eat. You're right, girl. So I will stick some together. Now, week 22. Well, what a week. It's been, like I say, with me being poorly. Now, I'm one of those people, normally when I'm sick, I know a lot of people kind of don't eat because they're unwell. I'm normally actually the other way around, and I do find myself eating when I'm poorly. So I was a little bit worried, but I needn't have been. If you think like the last week where I got a maintenance week, is that right? I'm sure I got a maintenance week last week. I'm sure I did. Yeah, we'll just say that I did. But yeah, last week being a maintenance week, which was good news actually, because I actually thought that I might have put on a little bit for the first time, which was really good news that I hadn't. And then this week, I've spent more week concentrating on what I've been doing and what I've been eating. Because I've been poorly, I've really been sort of, do I want this? No. Well, why are you eating it? You're not. Good. But it made me, I mentioned before, it made me realise something, that I'm on 10 milligrams right now, and that 10 milligrams for me appears to be, at the moment, the perfect dose. I was really worried a couple of weeks ago that my body had adjusted to it, and I was starting to think, oh my God, am I already going to go up to the 12 and a half? No, I'm not. No. It seems to me that at the moment, I am in that perfect zone, that nice zone where you've got a nice level of suppression, but it's not making me feel any side effects. The dry mouth has gone. I'll put a thing on the screen now. I did actually pick up a mouth spray that somebody recommended, and I did get one. And I did use it a couple of times over the last week, but I will say the last few days, the mouth dryness, it seems to have gone. So that's really good. That's not as a result of using that spray. That spray doesn't prevent it from happening. It's just one that you use when you've got the dry mouth. But that's gone. It's, yeah, I've got no side effects right now. None. Like I say, I've got no dry mouth, no constipation. Anything that I've had in the past at the moment seems to be gone. But I've got a nice, polite level of suppression. And what do I mean by that is I'm quite happy to eat when I want to eat, and I'm able to eat what I want to eat. I'm able to eat the right amounts that I want to eat. And I think because of where I am in terms of my marathon training at the moment, the important one for me is I'm able to fuel for my long runs. That's something that I've been struggling with. So with Manchester Marathon less than 3 weeks away, I'm in a really good spot now where I have to say it doesn't matter what the next couple of weeks look like, I will not go up a dose. Not before Manchester. No matter what now, I will not go up before Manchester, because what I can't have is go up to 12.5 and then bang, be hit with like a level of suppression that I can't deal with and I can't fuel for the marathon. So fortunately right now I'm in a good place. We all know though that can change day by day, week by week, whatever. But right now, right level, 10 milligrams is working perfectly for me. Right, before I get into the results of week 22, I just want to mention something about my relationship with food and with alcohol and how they've changed over the last 22 weeks. So much so. It's been, I know I've said this before about it being life-changing, but it really is. It really, really is. Even my wife yesterday, we were in the kitchen and she mentioned it to me. She's like, I can't get over, she said she's noticed it in the last sort of week or two especially, that she can't get over how my relationship has changed so much with food. She said she can physically see me considering what I'm about to eat before I eat it and making that decision if it's something that I really want. Yeah, and I think now's a good chance for me to really highlight that after 22 weeks, I think now I'm getting to the point where there is a mentality change. Now I know we've talked about mentality change before, and how, you know, at the very beginning, within 3 hours, I had this mentality change. I have. But I actually think that right now, that feels like a more of a permanent change. It feels like something is actually, I don't know, there's a mechanism that's gone off that says, okay, this now isn't the medication that's doing the thinking for me. This is, I've retrained my brain a little bit. This is probably all woo-woo. Where's my dog? There you are. It's probably all woo-woo and you're probably all thinking, shut up, Freddie. What you're talking about, you crazy man. But genuinely, I don't care what it sounds like. It feels to me like something has gone click, fallen into place. And now I've retrained and re-educated my brain, which has the obvious knock-on effect for everything else. So from even, like I say, for even my wife to notice it, my wife's the first one that would give me a hard time over anything. That's what she should be like. She's my wife. But for her to even say, yeah, I haven't really noticed a difference lately, then that's really cool. And that's really reaffirming to me. And yeah, it was nice to hear. It was nice to hear and notice. And alcohol was the other one. I mean, it's still now, it's been 22 weeks since I've had any alcohol. That it's still a thing, and it's still something that I don't want or need. It's weird though, because last weekend I popped into the shops. I popped into the supermarket and I had to pick up a few bits and bobs. And I said to myself, do you know what? I'm going to have a beer, but I'm going to have an alcohol-free beer. So I bought I think I bought 4 bottles of alcohol-free beer. Anyway, I got them home. That was on a Friday. I didn't touch them on the Friday. But on the Saturday night, I was like, okay, I'm going to have a couple of these beers. Got one out the fridge, cracked it open, poured it into a glass, went and sat down in front of the TV. And about 2 hours later, I'm about a third of the way through the glass, if that, and I tipped it away. I just didn't want it. It was weird. Even alcohol-free, I was like, I don't even want this. Why am I putting it in me? And the thought of it was just making me feel a bit rubbish, really. So I tipped it away, and now there's 3 bottles of alcohol-free beer sat in the fridge that will sit there for God knows how long now. And then on this week, or was it on Friday or Saturday? On Friday this week, one of our friends, their son just turned 18 last week. And then on the Friday, we all went down to the pub to have a little celebration, you know, and Anyway, I drove to the pub, sat with all our friends. They were all having a few beers. It wasn't a heavy night, far from it. But they're all sat having a few beers, and I'm sat with a Diet Coke, quite happy. Yeah, so even going to the pub, having that temptation straight in front of me wasn't really a thing. Didn't matter to me. And I went without. Okay, so results. What have I seen in week 22? Week 22, and we're back to losing. This is good. We went through a barrier this week. So we dropped 1.5 pounds, I think it was. I'm sure it was. Or should I check? I better check. Let me check. Yeah, we did. We lost 1.5 pounds this week, which takes me down to 213.5 pounds. Now, what this really means is that we've lost 20 kilos. And I was thinking about this, you know, you go to the gym and you see the big plates that they put on the barbell. The big one is a 20. I think you can probably get 25s, but quite often they're a 20. I've lost one of those. I mean, pick one of those up and you'll realise how heavy that is. It's incredible. And that's something that my wife asked me on the weekend as well, is how much can you feel it now in your body when you're doing things and you're moving around? How much of a difference is that really making? So that's 20 kilos, you know, getting up and down off the couch. If I was to strap that to my chest right now, a big 20 kilo plate, then getting up and down off the sofa is going to be a struggle. Right, so this coming week I will try and get a few videos recorded showing things like my food that I'm eating and some other bits and bobs, hopefully, and then get them out to you. Right, well, that about wraps up my week 22 update. It's a little bit late getting this out and it might not have all that much information, but it's just been one of those weeks this week with me being a little bit under the weather still, and it being such a straightforward week, honestly. And the truth is, I wouldn't mind some more of these weeks, because having no side effects whatsoever and being in the sweet spot of the 10 milligrams has worked out just nicely. And yeah, it's a nice place to be. So as ever, thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you on the next one soon. So wherever you are, whatever you're doing, stick with it, keep it positive.